For this video, I received a comment that asked, how do you play reactively, or rather, are you used to playing against decks that don't do anything? And although I try to plan things out that I can win, I can guess what my opponent's going to do and avoid that happening, and that is a difficult thing to do, honestly, but there are ways to provide a challenge even if you have no opponent to play against. Specifically, back when Theros first came out, there was this Challenge the Hydra deck that you could play against. And while I do have that deck, I also happen to have the Horde of Minotaurs and finally defeat a god pack as well. But when they first announced that there would be a Hydra Challenge deck, I thought, well, how does that work? How would you have a deck that you would play against that you couldn't actually... I mean, what would you do? And I put a lot of thought into it and thought about building my own version of a challenge deck. And that's kind of what this is. But obviously, I wanted to have a decent theme. I wanted to make it foolproof with how it worked. And that's when I came up with the following.
The Challenge of Phyrexia.
I think it's important to note that I never claimed I was an artist. I don't really know what I'm doing, and I did have fun. Alright, now, I should probably explain a few ground rules as how this works. See, Phyrexia is a little bit different from playing against an actual player. Also, you might notice that everything's moved around a little bit. That's because I bumped the camera as I was cleaning this off. Anyway. See, Phyrexia is not a player and cannot make any decisions. So instead, what we're going to do is give ourselves 3 turns to put out as much as we can to fight Phyrexia. At which point, it will put out a creature at the end of our turn. Now, Phyrexia will never control more than 1 creature, but at the end of any turn it doesn't have one, it puts out a new one. Then we have a deck of cards that will target me specifically and impact me in some way, and another pack that will not target me that I have to comply with. And it's also good to note that Phyrexia, because it is not a player, any cards that would say player can't affect it. In other words, it's exempt. It's like you're not fighting a person, you're fighting the entire plane of Phyrexia. You can't just, I don't know, browbeat Phyrexia, for example. Since they can't choose to take 5 damage, you draw the cards automatically. So there is a way to cheat the system, but we're not going to do that. We're going to play fairly with an opponent that can't make decisions. Instead, we just have to deal with whatever they cast for free after 3 turns. The other thing that I came up with for a challenge deck was that it would always mimic whatever the total life total was. In fact, this deck can play against multiple players, it's played against as many as 5. And each player gets a creature. As soon as that creature is dead, they get a new creature dealt off the top. And sometimes it is worthwhile because this deck takes a total of 49 cards, I believe. There are 9 1/1s, 8 2/2s, and so on up until 1 9/9 creature. And I like that. I chose 9 because 9 is very well associated with Phyrexia. 9 spheres, 9 planes of torment, etc. It's the 9 hells in Magic folklore. So whatever the combined life total is that it was playing against, that's what Phyrexia had. Phyrexia cannot block, it cannot make any decisions, so the creatures are basically just there to attack. And yeah, they always attack on the turn after it comes into play. It comes to play at the end of your turn. Next turn, it casts a spell to target me. Then it casts a spell that I can't deal anything, that doesn't target me but still affects me. And then it attacks. That's just the most worthwhile way of doing things because its spells can just deal with whatever permanents I have. So, in this case, I will have 25 life playing my tiny leader Tuktuk the Explorer deck versus Phyrexia. And then, because of this, Phyrexia will have 25 life. going to give myself 3 turns, and then we'll see what I can do. Alright, shuffle a few times. Now this is the tiny leader Tuktuk that I played originally, the one that deals a good amount of damage. It's also very, how to put it, some of the cards in it are obviously quite broken, such as, well, the Final Fortune and things like that. Here's my life total. Here's my deck. Let's see what I'm doing. Top 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And like I said, I'll give myself 3 turns before Phyrexia does anything to me. It's possible in this deck to deal a heck of a lot of damage in 3 turns, so hopefully I won't win just automatically. Well, I definitely won't because I had no lands. I shuffle down to 6, just like in any other format. Go ahead and do this. Sit down, cut the deck. I know Phyrexia wouldn't be able to do that, but we're doing it anyway. Draw 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see if we got anything we can work with now. 1 land, but we can do things. Now, defending player reveals the top card of their library if it's land. Obviously, Phyrexia is not a player, so it's completely unaffected by Goblin Guide. It won't be able to look at the top card, put it into its hand, because it has no hand. For this reasons, you can't really play a discard deck versus this. And you can't really play... well, the other interesting thing to note is that I can't actually target with Lightning Bolt. So I have to keep that in consideration. Yeah. But I will be dealing quite a bit of damage. So, first turn we'll play the Mountain, the Goblin Guide, swing for 2. Phyrexia now has taken 3 damage. End of turn 1. Let's see, we'll mark turns using this die. On to turn 2. Draw, probably not a land. It is. Oh wow, we'll be doing quite a bit of damage. We'll play Teetering Peaks, give this +2/+0. Then we'll play Taste for Mayhem, giving it another +2/+0, and swing for 6. Now Phyrexia is down to 17. Well, I don't think Phyrexia is going to be able to do much. But now we're on to turn 3. Let's see what kind of terrible things we're going to do now. Draw, and it's another land. I think our best bet is to... We might be able to deal enough damage to really get some damage in, so... Let's go ahead and play Tuktuk. Swing for 5. 5, deal, knock this down to 12. Now it's the end of our 3rd turn, so now we have our threat. Our first creature is Scourge Servant. 3/3 Infect, and Phyrexia takes its turn. We get Bojuka Bog. Alright, it will exile all cards that would have been in my graveyard. It does nothing. And then it will, each player's life total becomes the lowest life total among all players. And my life total is, well, I'm the only player, but, so I guess that does hurt me. Okay, well, Phyrexia kind of screwed up there, but I did get 3 poison counters. And I will have to accept that. So we'll use our poison die. I have 3 poison now. On to turn 4. Draw. Let's see. I think we'll put out the Foundry Street Denizen. Put out some dragon fodder. Put out some tokens. And then swing for 5. Phyrexia is now down to 7. And we will pass turn for Phyrexia. Creature untaps. Cast a spell targeting me. I sacrifice a creature and I lose 1 life. Well, I'll sacrifice Tuktuk. Give me Tuktuk the Returned. And then I will sacrifice 2 creatures. Alright, that's a thing. I'll get rid of my goblin tokens that I just put out. So, you know, Phyrexia does have, you know, stuff it can do. Let's see. I think I can outlast it because I have the extra turn card, but you're getting an idea of what it can do. I mean, it put out a 3/3 Infect on what was essentially its first turn. I can block with Tuktuk and put 3 -1/-1 counters on it, or I can just take the 3 Infect, and I think I will. I'll go to 6 Infect and take my turn, and then I will kill Phyrexia. Yep, Krenko's Command, Goblin Bushwhacker, Last Chance. I think I did pretty good. And you have to understand that for the 5th turn or so, Phyrexia was able to cast something with 6 mana. So, it's not perfect, but let's try one more game.